Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So it's our great pleasure to have you today with us in another online session, and with a very nice topic, which is emotional intelligence, a topic highly needed for the past period and for this period as well, and for the future. Okay, and this topic is one of the closest to my heart. And we'll have our pleasure to have our dearest guest today, Ms. Lily Wowie, and she's executive leadership and career confidence coach. She will introduce herself after some while, but it's really our great pleasure to have her with us today. And these meetings comes to you from HR Leaders Kuwait and HR Excellence Club, Qatar School Middle East, Tanmiyah Group, and Middle Quality and Excellence Middle East. So hopefully it will be a nice session, and hopefully we'll get a lot of benefit from it. And this will help us to benefit in our work and life as well. Okay, so Lily, please take the lead, take the chair, and introduce yourself first, and hopefully it will be a very good session. Inshallah.
Okay. Amazing. Just wanted to check. Can you see my slides clearly?
Not yet. Let me stop my share. Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Very lovely to be here. I am Lily Wowie, your executive leadership and career confidence coach. When life gets you down, you know what you got to do? Just keep swimming. If there is one quote that defines Dory in Finding Nemo, this is it. If there is one quote that defines one's career path, this is it. Today, we are going to look at your willingness to keep swimming in the face of a relentless and competitive world. My career started in the world of migration testing and corporate taxation. I moved into the world of leadership development, culture, and behavior change. I became a senior consultant for Deloitte Consulting, developing and delivering leadership programs for both existing leaders and high potential individuals to achieve their career goals and stretch their leadership capabilities. I am a facilitator for I Am Remarkable, empowering women and underrepresented groups to speak openly about their accomplishment in the workplace, breaking modesty norms and glass ceilings. Today, corporate professionals hire me to unlock their full potential and succeed because most feel stuck, unfulfilled with their current work life. Not to mention, they don't know what they want, how to get there, or why they want it. So I help them to get purposeful, to break the glass ceiling, and to unleash their full potential. Bottom line is, you must apply emotional intelligence to create great success in a relentless and a competitive world. Most are swimming and not outpacing the ever-changing competition in the workplace. Some are in the right place, but not fulfilled, frustrated, being passed up by others. They are not managing their ability to maximize emotional intelligence for advancement and success. Many are not purposeful or intentional to break the glass ceiling and to unleash their full potential. You all need to understand that the power of perception and how you can use it to leverage growth and advancement. In order to do that, you need to fully embrace the strength of emotional intelligence. So today, I'm going to provide you with some highly simple yet effective tools that will help you to keep swimming to outpace the ever-changing competition in the workplace. You will learn how to use emotional intelligence to be fulfilled, successful, and advanced. You will walk away with a greater understanding of the power of perception and how you can use it to leverage growth and advancement. You also have an opportunity to connect with me further to see how I can support you beyond today. So let's get started with the basics of emotional intelligence. This will ensure you're advancement ready. In order to apply emotional intelligence, you must know what you are striving for in your career. You must understand what makes you advancement ready and, more importantly, action ready. And that is the development of self-leadership. Self-leadership is essentially knowing who you are and what makes you tick. And the basis of self-leadership is emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? The ability to understand and productively manage your own emotion towards a positive outcome, emphasis on the positive. And there are 5 components to emotional intelligence. It's self-awareness, which is knowing your emotions, self-regulation, which is managing your emotions. The third one is motivation, your ability to motivate yourself. The fourth one is your social skills. How do you manage your relationship? And the last one is empathy. And for today's session, we are going to drill deep into empathy, and this will also help you to enhance all the other 4 aspects of emotional intelligence too. And to help you visualize what empathy is, I'll leave it to Brené Brown to nicely explain it. So I'm going to be playing a very short video for you.
So what is empathy and why is it?
Can I check you can hear the sound?
Yes.
Very different than sympathy. Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is dealing with people. Do you always think that empathy is this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, calm down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Because, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with please. Yeah, and we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb. I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, right now I'm just so glad you told me. The truth is, rarely can a response make something better. To make something better is connection.
This might be quite a basic video in terms of explaining what empathy is. However, I find that it really summarizes and highlights the key aspect of what empathy is. And it's 3 things. It's the ability to emotionally understand what other people feel and to be able to see things from their point of view. And lastly, is being able to imagine yourself in their place. And this is not discussed often but there are different levels or different types of empathy too. More specifically, there is 3 types of empathy. The first type of empathy is cognitive empathy. And this is where you understand what another person might be thinking or feeling. And this is mostly your rational side, your more intellectual and your more emotionally neutral side. The second type of empathy is emotional empathy. And this is your ability to share the feelings of another person. So you're able to understand that person on a deeper level. And for this type of empathy, if you don't manage it well, you can find yourself easily feeling overwhelmed. And this is where you get too emotionally involved in other people's problem. Empathy is most valuable when it's combined with action and makes you advancement ready. And that is the last type of empathy, which is compassionate empathy. And this is the most active form of empathy. With this kind of empathy, we not only understand a person's situation and to be able to feel with them, but if needed, we are also able to help them in their situation. And this is the balance between the cognitive and the emotional empathy. Because nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Theodore Roosevelt was advancement ready and understood that empathy and emotional intelligence plays a key role in being advancement ready and being successful as leaders. So I'm going to start making sure you're all keeping attention and staying engaged with it. So we're going to do a fun assessment and see how good your empathy skills is. I'm going to be sharing a few statements, and I would like you to rate yourself on the statements from 1 to 5. 1 being strongly disagree to 5 being strongly agree. The first one is, you are good at picking up on how other people are feeling. The second is, your mood changes with the mood of other people around you. The third one, I sometimes find it difficult to see things from another person's point of view. The fourth statement, I believe that there are 2 sides to every question and try to look at them both. And the last one, if I'm sure I'm right about something, I don't waste time listening to anyone else's arguments. So rate yourself 1 to 5 based on the following statement, and then total up all of the numbers. And if you're comfortable with it, drop the total into the chat box. I am seeing all the scores coming in. Thank you for sharing. Okay, it seems like we have quite a range of totals. Okay, very nice, very nice. So what I would say is, if you're anything below 16, you need to come and talk to me after this, okay? Drop me a line and we need to have a conversation. So what I would like to share with you next is also some practical steps so you know how can you start strengthening and developing your empathy skills. And the first one sounds very easy. It's about listening, but it's the most active form of listening by giving another person your full attention. So using your ears, your eyes, and your instincts. And it's really about listening to what they are trying to tell you. The second one is about being curious. So it's cultivating curiosity, and it's about being interested in understanding another person's perspective, because unfortunately, it's not all about you. The third one is about challenging yourself, and specifically challenging your assumption and biases. Don't make assumption about another person's situation based on what your life is like. Everyone has a different journey and everyone has a different experience. So it's about holding back on your assumption and your biases and allowing yourself to be interested and to be curious on what another person's situation is. Lastly, it's about developing self-compassion. It's hard to extend compassionate empathy to others without first providing it to yourself. Now, the first three are relatively easy to understand and to start developing. The tricky one is self-compassion, because it's not something that we talk about, especially in the workplace. And before we jump into any conclusion, I want to start by telling you what self-compassion is not. It is not self-pity. It's not the same as your self-esteem or your self-worth. And most importantly, self-compassion is not self-indulgence. It's very different. Self-compassion is about recognizing that we are humans and that we are imperfect. Rather than beating yourself up for every single mistake that you make, it's about understanding that it happens, life happens. It's also recognizing that you are not alone on this journey. This is a shared human experience. So rather than feeling the worst things only happen to you, it's recognizing that everyone goes through personal challenges. And more importantly, it's about taking a balanced approach to negative emotions. So it's not about suppressing all your emotion or exaggerating it. It's about observing it with openness and being mindful of it. And this can be quite a hard concept to really drill into or to really comprehend. It's such an important skill for us to start developing, and it's such an important skill for us to be successful in our careers and as leaders. Because self-compassion is our source of strength and mental resilience. And the current lockdown situation has really tested all of our resilience. And this is why self-compassion is such an important skill to start developing. Because if you have the willingness to feel, you can do anything. And it's not about getting over the feeling, but getting comfortable with it and using it to act on advancing in your career and being successful as leaders. So I also like to do another quick assessment so you can start visualizing and start understanding how compassionate you are with yourself. It's the same as the previous assessment from a rating or a range from 1 to 5. 1 is almost never, and 5 with almost always. Rate yourself on the following statement. The first statement is, when times are really difficult, I tend to be tough on myself. second is when something upsets me, I try to keep my emotions in balance. The third is I'm intolerant and impatient towards those aspects of my personalities I don't like. The fourth is I try to see my failings as part of the human experience. And lastly, when I fail at something that's important to me, I tend to feel alone in my failure. And total up all of the numbers and drop it into the chat box again. I see all of the numbers is coming in. Thank you for sharing. Got the range as well. And just like before, if you're anything below 16, come and talk to me after this and let's have a chat. Because I can't stress how important self-compassion is. And it's easy to feel that this is, oh, you know, why do you want to talk about self-compassion at work? But it's such a crucial skill, and it's what's going to set you apart in your career and as a very successful leader. Oh, I see Francis, you're 20. Amazing. That's a really high score. So what I would also like to share is some very practical ways you can start developing self-compassion as well, that you can immediately start experimenting and doing right after this session. The first one is about developing a growth mindset, and it's about embracing challenges as learning opportunities and not giving up on yourself and in your potential. So it's looking at you as a person that can always learn, can always grow, and can always be a better version of yourself. The second is about practicing gratitude. Rather than focusing on what we don't have, there is a lot of strength in appreciating what we do have right now while we are working towards our goal. The third one is about being a friend to yourself. So treat yourself like you would to a good friend. Would you talk to your friend the way you talk about yourself when you fail at something? I find that we are so much nicer and kinder to our friends compared to when we tend to criticize ourselves. If you're strong in the first three ways, I would then encourage you to start befriending your critical self-talk. Understand where it's coming from and what it is trying to tell you. And it's more about learning how to use it to motivate you and propel you forward rather than beating yourself down. Because negative self-talk reinforces fear. And this causes you to play small, not take risks, and not overstep your boundaries. You tend to apologize for not being enough and not giving yourself the opportunity to forge your way to the top and to achieve what success means to you. You also tend to stay in your comfort zone. And the thing is, many people do. The question is, will you stay in your comfort zone? I want to make sure that you are really fully stepping into your full potential and surpassing your old goals and aspirations. The key to unlocking your full potential and success is to leverage your knowledge and the power of emotional intelligence. There is no reason to feel unfulfilled or stagnant in your success and your growth. And I would love to support you in being purposeful, intentional, to break the glass ceiling and to unleash your full potential. The thing is, too many people believe they need to do it alone. You don't. Let me support you beyond today and help you apply emotional intelligence so you can create great success in a relentless and competitive world. Emotional intelligence is a key leadership skill. It is what's going to get you far in your career and to give you the advancement that you're looking for. And since Dr. Mohammed is a very good friend of mine, I have specifically took out a limited number of time slots for you to hop on an advancement ready call with me to see what's working, what's not working, and what would you like to have working. We would look at the result of my advancement ready assessment, and you will gain clarity and confidence in your pursuit of your goals and your growth. You don't have to go on it alone. I have the experience to capture a clear picture in a moment. So please, if you're interested, click on the link and I'll get you started on your next step to success. Okay, let's open this session up for questions.
Okay, thank you, Lily, so much for this session. And as we said, that emotional intelligence is the key success factor for us in both our lives and at work as well. So hopefully we had some practical case about how to practice emotional intelligence now. And please, if you have any questions, please either you raise your hand or and talk, or open the mic and talk directly, or put your question in the chat box. So please let us know if you have any questions for the session. What are your reflections? If you have any reflection of what you have heard or what we have experienced today, please share with us your experience as well.
And if there's any section of what I've shared really resonate or you really found interesting, please do feel free to pop that in the chat box as well.
Lydia, I was thinking, can you go to the 5 main components of emotional intelligence, please?
Yeah.
I think yes. I'd ask the people here to see which one of these 5 competencies do you believe that you are good at? Okay, can you write in the chat box, please, which of these 5 categories you are good at? Okay, self-awareness, motivation. Here, motivation, we talk about self-motivation or what we're talking about, Lily?
We're talking about specifically self-motivation, the ability to keep yourself, to stand up, to keep pushing forward and to keep trying, keep trying.
Yes. Okay. That's great.
Very nice.
So are there also some, we have seen some quick assessments, okay, but are there more detailed assessments for us that we can do so that we know ourselves?
Definitely, there is so many different type of free assessment that is available with just a quick Google search. You can find assessment that looks at emotional intelligence as a skill, and you can also find assessment that specifically looks at your individual element in within the emotional intelligence circle. And, you know, happy to pop something over to you, Dr. Mohammed, so you can share it with your group as well, if they're interested in doing some more assessment.
Yeah, this would be great, because actually what happens that we send your presentation and you send the link to the recording, but this will need a lot of amendments, definitely, okay, to everyone, so that we send your email as well also, and you will send any links to the free assessments, so that we can understand about ourselves first, because this could be one of the questions about self-awareness. How can we know ourselves? How can we do the self-awareness?
I love assessment too, Nadia. And I also see that there's a question that is coming, that came in on what are the ways to improve the social skills. So without going into kind of a rabbit hole, social skills is also a very broad topic that you can look at. And I think the first is to really understand what part of social skills. And the one thing that we really focus on, it's about how do we manage our relationship with another person productively. And it could be things that you need to draw on, such as your empathy skills, your self-awareness, your self-regulation, to improve your social skills. And all of these components are interrelated. And I'm not sure if you remember what I shared earlier during the session. When you focus on improving your empathy, the different elements of emotional intelligence get strengthened as well. So, the 4 different practical ways that I shared in terms of strengthening your empathy is a good way to start practicing, and it would also improve your social skills as well.
You can find some other questions in the chat box.
Yes, definitely, Reem. There could be months of lectures and training sessions just on emotional intelligence alone, and so many different assessments. I'm very happy to discuss more about how we can develop emotional intelligence for a team member as well as from a team leader perspective. Self-regulation, how to improve it. Well, this is a very interesting question. The first thing with self-regulation is about being aware about your emotions. And when I talk about emotions, it's slightly different than your mood, because mood is something that is what you're feeling over the longer term. Emotions can be quite fleeting. So in a minute, you can feel anger or upset, and the next minute you can feel another emotions. And the key is to be able to recognize the emotion that you're feeling at that moment and decide what is the best way to react and respond to a situation positively or productively. It could be something as simple as, I recognize that I'm feeling a bit upset at the moment, and I do not want to engage with you because what I share is not going to be helpful. So I'm going to step away for now and come back to this later. So the first thing about self-regulation is about recognizing your emotions and recognizing the triggers behind it. What had happened, or what had happened within you, or what did someone else say or do that has triggered that emotions in you in order for you to feel that way before you decide how would you like to react to it. And that is a whole separate training session or lecture as well.
Yes.
Barely scratching the surface of any of this.
Yes, definitely. The subject is very important subject, as I said, that it's very crucial these days. Okay, and this is not only about the lecture, it's about how to really apply this in your daily life and at home, at work, and every place, because we are challenged and very challenging time. So we need to apply this as much as we can.
Yes, definitely. The key is in application, and I'll invite you to be playful with it, have fun with it, because it takes time for you to recognize what works for you and what doesn't work. So going back into the self-compassion point, there's no need to be so hard on yourself. Give yourself time to play around to understand what works best for you, and give yourself time to learn and to develop this. Exactly, Nadia. Your thoughts or what you think creates emotions. So if you have a tendency to have negative self-talk, your emotion will be reflected to it, and your behavior and your actions as a result is visible and observable by another person. Definitely. Is there any recommendation to practice EI in the very critical time in economy and unemployment? Yes. What we have shared during the session can be applied outside of the workplace as well. And definitely in the current situation of unemployment, I think emotional intelligence is so important in terms of understanding that you're only a flip side away from things that is happening. And it's being able to empathize and recognize the struggle that another person is going through. And if possible and if needed, being able to extend support and help where you can. When can we have session 2? Dr. Mohammed, I'll hand this question over to you.
Yes, we will see. We'll have some plans, because yes, the topic is important, and many people still looking to get more information. Okay, so hopefully we'll find some time in the near future to plan for another session.
Looking forward to that.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, Lily, for this wonderful session and discussion. I think in spite of all what happened, but we managed to come back and we managed to continue our session. Okay, and this really is a good sign that we have some self-regulation. Okay, so that we can manage this. So thank you so much, and yes, we're looking forward to have you with us again in the near future.
Yes, definitely. And just a last reminder, if you're interested and ready to hop on a call with me, remember to book in a call, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Yes, sure, with pleasure. Okay. Thank you so much, and really looking forward to have you on another session with us. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you. This was very interesting, insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.